You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by STS Targets, premium shooting targets and accessories. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty, and joining me outside a closed pub, but we'll get into that more in a moment, a few gentlemen involved with the Precision Tactical Rimfire shoot coming up in a few weeks here in Adelaide. Starting off with a familiar voice, Galen. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Rusty. How are you?
Yeah, going all right, man.
That's
going all right. Good. And the other gentleman involved here, we've got Peter over there. Peter, how you doing?
Good evening, Rusty. A bit cool out here, but we're doing all right. We're fine, thank you.
Bad. And the third lineup tonight is Ben. How are you doing, Ben?
Yeah, good, Rusty. It's very interesting that a pub closes at 9:30 at night, which is a little bit strange for Adelaide.
Well, they didn't actually throw us out. They just said we're closing.
Well,
they're still drinking in there.
Peter picked the pub, so clearly we've got him to blame. But the reason we are at a pub and the reason that we are recording after it closed is because Ben got kicked out for drinking too much. No, we just had a meeting about this particular rimfire shoot that we've got coming up, and I'm here with a few of the guys who are putting this all together. Certainly the two guys who dreamed it all up in concept. So, gentlemen, tell us about it. What's happening? We're only a few weeks away from it. A couple of weeks away from it.
All getting a bit scary, mate, after the meeting tonight and everyone telling me how much interest there was around the place. Ben and I actually came up to one of your little shoots up at Callington going back, what's that now, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah, 6 months.
Something like that.
Yep.
And had an absolute ball. Thoroughly loved it and thought, well, yeah, this is cool. It's something that really we thought we could take a little further afield because we're both sort of very active in the club side of things.
Yeah, sure.
More so pistol, I suppose, than rifle, but we both love the little 22s. So we thought, well, why not get something together and see what we can do? So we put together a bit of a flyer. We talked about a couple of crazy stages. We thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it and got it out there. But from that point, it's just snowballed, absolutely snowballed.
Well, this is not the first shoot you guys have done since that shoot 6-7 months ago. You've done a couple of others within some of the clubs, is that right?
Yeah, so this will probably be our third shoot. We've done 2 other mini shoots with other clubs, which has been heaps of fun. But yeah, this one's a massive one for everyone.
Yeah, nice. And so give us a bit of a rundown of what you've got planned. We'll give the details now. When has it been?
The 21st of January on a Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And
so you actually have the choice of going to church or going to our church.
I'm sure we could combine the both. I'll bring a Bible along. That'll be fine.
Torrens Valley Pistol Club. It's actually part of the State Shooting Park complex.
And it's nowhere near Torrens Valley, I found out.
Absolutely nowhere near Torrens Valley.
So if you look up Torrens Valley or try to get there when you are looking for this shoot, don't. Yeah, don't.
Carmelo Road, Virginia, part of State Shooting Park.
And that's in South Australia for those who are interstate or overseas. And this is the first one in this, This is the first larger one that you've done. You've done the other 2 that you said, the small ones.
Yeah, so we've done smaller stages. So we've had a maximum of about 3 or 4 stages. This time we have 9.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. So, Galen, you've been roped into this as well, mate. And what's your involvement with it?
I'm going to actually RO on the day, and happy just to be involved with the guys and with the comp, and from being a comp shooter myself and seeing the interest in the PRS style centerfire type comps. I'm just amazed at the interest that they've had with the 22 rimfire comp. So yeah, just heading out and officiating on the day a little bit and looking to have some fun.
Awesome. So there's some details on the event, and perhaps if people want to find some more stuff, where can they find you, Peter?
Good question. Ask Ben. He's the Facebook man.
So if you just head to Facebook, if you just go to the Precision Tactical Rimfire page, either Peter or I add you. Just click in there. There's many people. So we've already got over about 250 followers. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We've got international people looking at our page, as well as statewide everywhere. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Look, it's certainly the interest in. I mean, we know, we're involved with the interest in PRS style, precision rifle side of things is huge and growing. And rimfire.
But the thing is, though, Rusty, everyone's got a 22 somewhere in their safe. So why not bring it out?
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say, mate. The rimfire stuff is such a broad audience because most people have access to one, and it's a really easy one to get into.
And there's no reloading, which is brilliant. And you don't have to pick up your brass, which is even better.
We even heard a couple of stories tonight from some of the guys who just turned up at this planning meeting, and some of the guys are actually from the shops, and they've actually said people have actually been going in. They've come from other shooting disciplines, some of the pistol shooters and whatnot. They've gone in and actually bought 22 rifles, drop scopes on top, specifically to come out and shoot this. So it's just blown us away. It really has.
Absolutely. So what sparked your interest in it? The shoot you did in July, was that the first time you've done this style of shooting?
I've been involved in shooting since I was about 13, involved in the club scene for probably the last 30-odd years. I'm a bit of an old fart as far as that goes.
What Pete actually means, he used to throw rocks because they didn't have guns back then.
How did you know?
Not
you
sure
weren't old enough to know.
Not sure they had rocks back then, mate.
But yeah, look, I've done a fair bit of rimfire. I started off doing a bit of metallic silhouette. I've done some running bore. I always love the 22 side of things.
Yep.
From there, I'm a member of a club, and we have a regular monthly rifle shoot with different sorts of ways of doing things in different disciplines, and always trying to cook up something new as to what to do. And after going to your shoot and realising the beauty of actually shooting at steel, where you didn't have to walk down and spend half your time patching and scoring and worrying about the rain and the wind blowing your targets away. It was just simple, sweet, easy. And from that, we've developed the target process a little bit further for this one. Some of the targets we're going to be using are a bit more of a novelty basis.
Yep.
We've got some electronics going with it, so we got some flashing lights happening, and we've got some bit of movement. We've got a slider and a couple of bobber targets, all associated with steel, so there's still not that whole target aspect there. And we've just put it together, and it's going to be, it's PRS style, no question about it, because that's really where it's coming from. But we're trying to keep it at a more less competitive and more fun type environment.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyone can come along, and even new shooters are going to hit an awful lot of the gongs. They're going to have a good time, and that's the thing. And the good guys, there's going to be some hard stuff there. Although Torrens has actually only got a maximum range of 50, we've stretched a couple of the targets out to about 60 metres. Yep. It sounds pretty close, but
there's some small targets in there.
Very small targets. They're not going to be that easy to hit.
But this is also a fantastic opportunity to get in the ground floor for the actual PRS. So getting in with the bigger rifles, the longer shots, things like that. So it's just a good little practice ground as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Ben. I know a lot of people that I've competed against in the centerfire comps of PRS style shooting will be at the shoot. Not just necessarily seeing it as a practice or a bit of fun, but just seeing it as an opportunity to shoot more, and moving forward into a PRS style or a year full of PRS style shooting. The more shooting, more trigger time you get, the better. So a lot of guys are looking at it from that perspective as well.
There's some interstaters coming as well, and from what I can work out, they're bringing some pretty serious equipment over with them too.
Yeah, I've heard that, Peter, and a couple of those guys I've actually competed against. There's one from Victoria and one from New South Wales, and I've had a few sort of conversations with them, and they're all really excited about the competition, and yeah, just looking forward to a bit of fun, like Ben says. And look, I've seen the course of fire and I've seen the targets, and I think there's going to be enough fun and enough challenge to keep everybody happy.
We're even actually lucky enough to have a unicorn on one of the stages.
A pink one at that.
Well,
Just for you,
that
Rusty.
probably brings us into the point of Ben. You've designed the match, hence the reason there's a pink unicorn. Is that the reason?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually looking forward to riding a pink unicorn. It's probably one of my favourite pastimes.
What about the match though, mate? Not just your personal hobbies.
See, if I could actually integrate like reading poetry and walking along the beach as well, it'd be fantastic.
There's an idea. PRS on the beach.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Watching the sunset.
In the budgie smugglers.
Skipping bullets instead of skipping stones.
Yeah, now he taught you like 3 or 4K shots. That you
Yeah,
have to
put a
skim.
gong on a boat.
Oh, we've
Yeah,
got enough
that's it.
sharks down here in South Australia to take care of that. So
Speaking of which, apparently, actually, this is not relevant to this type of podcast at all, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. We went out with Dutchie on the weekend, who some of you may know, and certainly he will be appearing on some podcasts. Went out in this tiny little boat, and apparently there was a shark out. We found it after, which we're using the excuse that there was a shark, and that's why we didn't catch any fish. So the only thing I caught was sunburn, and it was quite an exciting day. But anyway, back to unicorns, Ben.
yeah, no. So the stages are actually quite fantastic. So there's very challenges. I love it.
I like the fact that you've written the stages and you've gone, yeah, now these are probably the best stages in the world that have ever existed.
Absolutely.
like the
You can't get
confidence, man.
any better. Why would you look anywhere else when you could actually shoot one of our stages? Seriously.
One of yours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Don't worry about those impact dynamic stuff. Like, yeah, just come to the Precision Tactical. Why not?
And ride the wild pink unicorn.
See, this is why I know your interest has been really good, and there's certainly quite a few people coming. But if you had put that pink unicorn on the flyer, you would probably be talking like a 3 or 4 week long shoot with probably about 7 or 8,000 people.
We're not far off that now.
Probably not far off that now. No, but that pink unicorn could have been. Anyway, we shall move on from that. Galen, have you had any recent interactions with mythical creatures, mate?
No, I haven't. I of course, like most people that have been on the Facebook site, have seen the said unicorn.
That's headless there.
Headless. It is the headless unicorn. No, I haven't
So it
had
could
any.
just be a horse in that
It
photo.
could actually be a pink horse, but no. Look, I think all pink unicorns aside, a little bit of work has gone into the, designing the match, and as I said, I think there will be a lot of interesting stages, and certainly enough to keep everybody interested, whether you're a new shooter and new to the the PRS style of shooting, or just looking to have some fun, or even if you're a PRS shooter and looking to practice. There's plenty for everybody, and I think it'll be a great day.
The other thing is, Galen, it's not just a PRS shoot. We have a lot of things coming from IPSC as well. PRS, IPSC have a lot of similarities. So we've taken a lot of things like sliders, bobbers, and a lot of steel plates from that sort of IPSC background as well.
And a fair bit of movement as well. Special thanks, actually. Sean Milner, STS Targets.
No, don't give him too
done
much
a
credit.
wonderful job. Absolutely wonderful job with some of these little more creative targets we've got out there. And
Well done, Sean.
he did a fantastic job. And Scott Carruthers as well from the electronics side. He's built some stuff up for us that I thought was going to cost millions. Infrared sensors for impact sensors. We've got a little bunny running down a slide. We've got a bobbing up bob that's all connected together with
Bobbing
all time
up bob.
delays. A bobbing up bob.
Right.
All on
Good.
time delay. So fingers crossed it all works, but if it does, it's going to be great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's always the risk, putting some electronics into it. Things can
There's
go
going to be
south.
no rage malfunctions. It's all good.
No rage malfunctions.
No range malfunctions.
A range.
No,
was
there'll be a
thinking
lot of rage, let me assure you, but
I was thinking completely different things. Yeah, fantastic. And so, Ben, what about your little bit of background? But why this really sparked interest with you?
same sort of thing as what Peter was saying earlier. Sort of loved the shoot back in July. And yeah, unfortunately, you start spending a lot more money in regards to building up rigs and going silly, like building like Ruger Americans in an MDT chassis and putting skeleton MDT stocks on, which is like 1 of 5 in Australia at the moment. So yeah, you just unfortunately sink a lot of money into a fun little sport.
What's the unfortunately bit? Why is that a bad thing?
I've got a wife and 2 kids that I need to actually feed sometimes, but I'd much prefer to buy an MTT chassis.
Right, well, we shall send this podcast through to Child Protection to ensure they can hear your attitude towards your children.
Excellent.
You may have that dream fulfilled of not having them to worry about.
No, I love
Here
the
comes
fact
the
that
correction.
So basically, I love the fact that we have the opportunity to do what we love, and why not take that a little bit further and actually design courses that we want to shoot ourselves, not just as fun for everyone else, but we actually want to do it ourselves, and that's the best part about us. We have the love, we have the passion for the sport, so why not have the opportunity to actually grow what we love as a sport.
Yeah.
One of the things that came out of tonight is that the people here was an interesting integration of different types of discipline shooting.
Certainly
We
was.
had some of the PRS guys here, and we've had a whole heap of the guys coming from the IPSC world. And a lot of those guys have been setting up stages, designing the whole IPSC concept for quite a while now. And I think that's one of the unique parts of what we've done here, is we've brought a little bit more kind of IPSC variety into it, but trying to maintain the PRS aspect at the same time.
So clarify that for us. Like, what are the elements we're seeing brought from IPSC more than the other way around? Because no doubt there's a reasonable amount of IPSC already ingrained in PRS in many ways.
I think the movement in terms of target movement was not something we've seen a lot of in PRS in Australia yet, although I do understand it's really taking off overseas now, and you've got some plans there. I mean, movement in terms of bobbers and spinners and sliders and all that sort of thing's been around in the IPSC world now for donkey's ages. And they've probably perfected making the machines that make these things work.
Yep. Fair point.
So that's something I think we bring across, and we've only got one stage in this event where we're using them. It's a bit of a trial, but I mean, in the clubs that I go to, the equipment sheds are just full of all sorts of different toys that we could really bring into this. And it's just a question of working out what is compatible and what can come across and what doesn't work for that.
More what 22 will actually knock over. That's the question.
That's a fair point. And on the flip side of that, I guess one of the reasons we don't see so much advanced targetry in PRS is because you're punching stuff with big centerfires that will go through or damage contraptions, and if a contraption goes down mid-comp and you can't rectify it quickly, it chews the comp up real quick. But it's great in the rimfire side of things, where those things can sort of move across quite relatively
and therefore
easily.
a lot of the equipment actually already in place on stages, such as action plates and stuff like that. We can shoot at those.
Don't know
PRS can't.
what's an action plate?
An action plate is a 6-inch plate. There's 6 of them in a row. They're set at shoulder height. They're shot in what's called action match in pistols. So you're using 9mm 38 fairly low-powered loads. They're draw and fire at those targets from different distances, moving back over a time.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yep.
I mean, if you throw a 6.5 at one of those plates, you're just going to drill a hole straight through it. But
Yeah, you hit the frame, the thing will probably
yeah,
fall over.
that's it.
Yeah, well and truly. Very good. Is there any other elements of IPSC that you're sort of integrating into this side of things?
There's a lot more I'd like to bring into this. I think
Okay.
it's also a question of trying to balance things out between experienced and inexperienced shooters. And that's something we're well aware of in terms of this shoot. There's a lot of people coming to a club that possibly haven't even shot at a club before. Rifle handling, safety aspects, which we spoke about in there, we need to be a little clearer on. But, you know, IPSC, where we're charging through doors and we're shooting through portholes and a lot of this sort of stuff, some of it certainly PRS does. But there's a bit more of that there in IPS, like in IPSC, I think we could bring forward once you've got, you know, the shooter conditioned to using that sort of equipment.
That's an interesting point, Peter. I'm, as you know, a rifle shooter, PRS rifle shooter, and I'm now shooting IPSC pistol as well, and it's been it's a fairly big leap, but just in the matches I've shot, lately, the complexity of the stages, how many rounds you end up putting down on a stage downrange, is incredible in comparison to a PRS stage generally, and I can certainly see a lot of benefit to PRS to taking some of that dynamic movement and activity with the actual gun back into a PRS situation. So, I think they run parallel, really, both disciplines.
Just to also point out, in Australia, we mainly do pistol IPSC, where like overseas there's actually 3-gun IPSC. So you're looking at shotgun, rifle, as well as pistol. But mainly in Australia, it's only just pistol IPSC. So a lot of the actual side of things in regards to rifle, shotgun, is not actually done in IPSC in Australia. So that's why we've kind of gone towards the PRS kind of style to introduce that a little bit more as well.
But Rimfire also integrates well into the ranges around that we can use. I mean, the pistol ranges traditionally around Australia usually max out around the 50-metre mark, which of course obviously is useless for rifle centrefire. But with a little bit of stretching and a bit of creativity in terms of your targets and everything, it's quite doable. So we've already had a heap of other clubs come forward, offering and having interest in doing something in the future, which is good.
We also do have a few clubs that have been talking to us that we can actually shoot out to about 300, 350 metres, which will be interesting for a rimfire. So it'll be fun, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a few questions for you guys that you've prompted me. One on the distance side of things. What have you guys... I know I've shot with you, Peter, out to about 300 or so we did. Would you see that sort of stuff come into comps, or where's your take on distance?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally think distance is actually a lot of fun. So to be able to dial in and have a lot more challenging, I think it's fantastic. So going out to those 300 with a rimfire, you're either make or break. Like it's really challenging. You can still do that with a iron sights as well. We've seen that before. Guys going out to 200 plus with like iron sights. So fantastic.
That's right, Ben. And I mean, I think the four of us were all out there. We were shooting to just under 300 with our rimfires, and the talk and the chatter and the the elements.
You mean the banter?
The banter. It was the same sort of talk that you'd hear when there's a group of guys out there shooting to 700, 800, 900 metres, 1,000 metres.
Except we didn't have to shout.
I didn't even have my ear protection in. So it's the same. It's the same techniques when you're pulling the trigger and you're breathing and knowing your dope or your drops. It's the same with a rimfire as with a centerfire when you're talking to those ranges. So to take this comp out to greater distance is something that's going to challenge a centerfire PRS shooter just as much as a centerfire PRS match.
One of the other big things for the rimfire in the rimfire camp is the cost. It's just the cost of being able to put rounds down range. If you get a match that's spec'd out to 150 rounds, say, you're not thinking, oh man, that's how much money
what does brick cost these days?
Yeah.
About $110?
Yeah, you're thinking, oh, okay, I've got 150 rounds. I better take 200. Right, well, I've got to find $25 from somewhere. It's not it's not prohibitive, which is wonderful, which is a really good advantage that the
until
rimfire
you
stuff
get
has.
super competitive about it, and then there is a cost element in this that it is exponential without doubt. I'm just going through that at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's self-inflicted, Peter.
Yeah.
That's
Correct,
your fault.
But you can still spend that sort of money on a centerfire and then still have to pay a couple of bucks every time you pull the trigger
very
on top
true.
of it.
Very true. But actually, rimfire rifles, to function well and be competitive in this, do actually have a few differences to the centerfire area.
Yeah,
One of the big
such as
things,
what?
well, scopes, for example, I'm just going through this now, trying to find a good quality scope that will actually focus parallax down to under 20 metres. All the big stuff doesn't want to know about it.
There's a bit of a shift in that, actually. Some of the bigger, newer stuff is coming down further. And in the last probably 12 months, 18 months, starting to see a bit more of that. But it's only a recent trend.
Yep.
There certainly is products out there that will do it.
Oh, yeah, I found one or two. I was at Nick Halliwell's yesterday, actually, playing with his HD Razor Gen 2. And the specs on that actually claim about 32 yards. I think it was probably pushing more about 40, but it's certainly better than what I've been playing with up until now.
But the looking at the actual rifles, things like that as well. Like Maruga just announced the new Precision 22 as well. So
Well, this is something else I
fun
wanted
little thing as well.
to get onto you guys about, because we're seeing what we saw in the centerfire PRS world, where the industry is starting to catch on to the trend, and recent times we've had the T1X T. Is that right? The Tigger one released or announced. The Ruger announced. There's a new Savage announced. There's a number of rifles that are a lot more designed around this style of shooting in 22s that can be used as trainers. And
the best thing about it is you could have the whole collection. So you could, if you run a ticker in the centerfire, why not buy the ticker and the rimfire as well?
Yeah, and we are only a matter of a week and a bit away from SHOT Show in the US, which will be full of announcements, and no doubt we will hear a huge amount of what's coming out. And I would expect that there will be a good trend up of rimfire type things.
Yeah, see, in the old days, you used to just run the traditional kind of like stocks, the wooden stocks, everything like that. But now with these amazing chassis that are coming out, like MDT, and there's just, you can name heaps of them.
Go for it then.
Absolute amazing.
Name heaps of them.
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. Come on.
Where's
Google? Where's Google? Come on. Where's Google? Come
I
on.
saw you struggling with MDT and some others. Yeah.
MDT's just the best, so thank you very much, MDT.
Yeah, get the sponsors in, I guess, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot be any happier with my MDT LSS 22 chassis for my Ruger American. It's a beautiful little thing. And the skeleton stock is absolute brilliant as well.
Good.
And a quick shout out to Magpul.
They're not going to give you a free one.
Well, come on. Magpul grips, come on. You know you want one.
Right, so moving on from that, or are we? Is there some stuff out there that you sort of alluded to, more options in the scope? Is there some other stuff that in your 22 shooting that you'd like to see come out more?
I think once you actually start trying to look at the concept at the moment, one of the things we found tonight, just talking through this whole planning meeting, is the fact that we're sort of forging ahead at the moment, and there's no actual rule book. So we're trying to adapt this shoot along PRS lines, along having some movement from the IPSC side, taking people's previous experience and trying to put it all together. But of course, in the process of doing that, you hit these issues about, well, this is how it went here, or this is how it was done there, and this is a ruling for PRS, and this is a ruling for IPSC, and the same thing applies to the rifles as well.
Sure.
We've put together 3 categories for this shoot. One being anything basically that runs a tube magazine.
Yep.
A genuine hunter class, which is predominantly just your average everyday rifle, maximum 12-power scope.
Yep.
And then if you want to play on top of that, if you want to play big magazines, higher magnification, parallel size barrels, big barrels, that kind of thing, we've just defined it as open.
You're going to
So
add
we're trying to
straight
keep
pull
it
in there as
reasonably
well.
straight. No, straight pull's part of open at the moment. I know that would be like, some people might like to change that, but
also to put in perspective of everything, we had a half an hour discussion if it was hit or impact. So that's what it comes down to.
Half hour is pretty generous.
45 minutes.
That was about a 8-minute discussion, I think. You'll find there, Ben.
No, but that's only because we've got a massive background of IPSC or like PRS. So so many people come from either kind of background. So it's kind of like nutting that out.
But building tactical rimfire rifles is something pretty new, I think, in Australia. Up until probably a couple of years ago, if you wanted a 22, you went to the gun shop, you saw something on the rack that you liked, and you're, I'll have that, and I'll take it out and shoot it. No one was talking about barrel swaps or the precision side of it, or trying to think about where you can game something, where an action speed or amount of bolt lift or the magazine capacity or even accuracy to a certain degree suddenly now comes into play big time in terms of a comp.
Yeah, because your 22 was just for like your bunny shooting or your plinking or your first rifle as a kid. It wasn't about the precision side of things.
Yeah, there's certainly some 22 comps that have been around a long time, but they're a very different style of comp to what we see. And so there's been years of research in 22s and getting the most from them, generally off a bench. And aside from that, yeah, they're often seen just as a hunting top scenario, which in a PRS world is really where it all comes from, and just trying to take it to the extreme.
Well, I mean, it's the Olympic thing. 22 really has developed in terms of the accuracy side along what the Olympic standards have wanted. So ultimately it's been single shot, and that doesn't translate to the game we're now playing.
True. So when are we seeing the first biathlon in Australia for the Precision Tactical?
How did you
Rimfire?
hear about that, Rusty?
I've got some sources from here from time to time.
Yeah, well, it might be showing its face this week. I don't think it'll be ready for the shoot by any means. But we'll see where it gets to. It may work.
Excellent. So, gentlemen, if someone's at a club and really likes or enamored with the PRS style of things and is inspired like you have been, have you got some advice for them if they want to start something up or get started with running 22 type comps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably best bet is just to either contact us via Facebook or even contact yourself as well. I think you are very ingrained inside the shooting community, so the opportunity's there for us to even come out and do like a potential demo day or something like that. Is something we can do down the track. We've done previously. We've gone out to a few little clubs and taken out some targets and some different barricades and things like that. So I think there's always opportunity to do things like that. It just depends if we actually have time. We actually have full-time jobs as well. So this is like still a hobby for us.
Certainly, but if if we've got listeners who are listening in areas that you can't get to or don't really want to get to, perhaps,
we'll fly anywhere. It's all good. You just pay for the airfares.
I was just wait. I'm going to edit that bit out. That you'll fly anywhere. No,
Yeah, absolutely.
For free, Ben?
Yeah, why not? You just put me out for accommodation and feed me, and I'm all set. No.
The unique thing about the shooting community, and this is something I've found just in the past few months when we've actually started this and going down this road, is the people come out of the woodwork. You know, they see you actually setting something up, and if they've got an interest, all of a sudden you've got a new friend, you've got someone prepared to do something.
Yep.
I mean, that meeting tonight, I think we had 14 people sitting in there, all from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, different shooting backgrounds, all that have actually heard about this and had some interest, and they've all come forward to us and get, hey, can we help? We want to do this, we want to do that. There's guys in there that built targets, there's guys in there who did the electronics, there's guys that are coming along offering to RO. Some people have had a look at the stages and helped us develop them as we're putting it together, and there's been just an endless supply of knowledge thrown back at us over the last few weeks to help us put this together. It's just been brilliant. We couldn't have done it without them.
No, absolutely, and they've been a massive, massive support for what we've done. But there's also so much information online as well, which is fantastic. So there's so many Facebook groups out there. Google's everyone's friend, so why not check it out? So we always have heaps of pictures up, and everyone kind of loves showing off in a way.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, Rusty, if there's people out there that are, maybe club members at a club that might not do this style of shooting, you might want to talk with your committee or talk with, some of the other members of your club, and just raise that, raise the opportunity. You can go onto YouTube or Facebook, and you can see some of this stuff being done. But talk about it and set a couple of little stages up and have a bit of fun. And once you've done that, whether you're stretching your 22 out to greater range or whether you're challenging yourself a little bit more with target size, having a bit more, dynamic activity to your shooting is infectious. And talking with your club and getting it out there will certainly put it on their radar and only expand your opportunities in that way.
It's also a good way of exposure for clubs as well, for people that actually aren't members or have never been to their club before. So hopefully, say the next one coming up at Torrens Valley, they have the opportunity to expose their club to, that's probably not the right word, it's probably a little bit awkward, but look at their facilities and say someone that has gone from a rimfire or centerfire going over to the pistol side of things.
Looking at who, we've had interest in this competition from, it's fairly broad. I mean, I think we've got 7 or 8 interstaters, coming a fair distance to shoot. And there's people...
better be good then.
Yeah, I know.
It will be good. The stages are amazing, right?
No, I think he's saying they better be good. I don't know. But, we've had interest from all over South Australia as well. And, we're sort of beating around, some numbers today on, what we think we might...
Just hang on a sec, Galen. There's cats everywhere. What? This is...
Where's the 22s?
This is cool.
Hang on, I've got mine in my car. No, I don't.
There's literally just cats walking around us. This is...
That cat was sitting on the chair in the pub earlier when we came in.
I saw that. Yeah, no, if Badco was here, he would be losing his mind right now. Anyway,
hang on, they're all under my car. That'd be... What's going on there?
Nice. Let's take the tyres off and drop it down. Anyway, Galen.
Yeah, no, I was just saying the interest that we've had has been pretty broad and obviously not from one obvious segment of the shooting community. All ages, all sexes, all disciplines have been interested, from pistol shooters to PRS shooters to people that probably shoot rabbits on their farms. So
or cats,
under people's cars. So I think I think it indicates there's interest, a lot of interest, and if you're out there and you feel a little bit isolated, and how do I get this happening at my club? Well, ask around, and I think you'll probably find there'll be other people that want to do the same thing.
A couple of the guys coming over from Victoria, I've been actually chatting to them in the last couple of weeks, and they're actually keen to get something going over there, so they're actually coming over to have a look at this. But they even threw the idea out there that potentially if they run something, we could even do a state versus state sort of competition coming up. But, time will tell.
Yeah, the mighty state of origin, why not?
Yeah. That's not the first time the idea has been suggested, and I suspect we will see all sorts of that sort of thing coming up in due course. I wanted to mention, and I probably have told this story, but it's related to rimfire, so I'm going to tell it again. And we were at a club shoot, 22s, and it was all pretty generic while we were there. And I had a 22 set up. There was, I think, only one metal target that I was shooting. It was about 40 metres or something on those lines. And I was with another bloke, and I said, well, let's just make this a bit more interesting. So set the gun up, chucked a mag in, took 5 shots, mag out, ran back to 5 metres, grabbed another mag, back in, closed it back up, took another 5 shots, and we stopped the timer. I went, all right, it's your go. And he goes, all right, no sweat. So he had a go. Tried to do as well, and then he gave him some pointers, tried it again, did a little bit faster. Then there were 3 or 4 other guys sort of sitting at benches just shooting their 22s on paper, looked over, and one of the guys went, can I have a try of that? I went, yeah, sure, mate, absolutely. By the end of it, everyone who was on that range was, sort of half a dozen people. They're all having a crack on that and then using their gun and then mixing it. And it was just, these are guys who weren't necessarily into this style of shooting. It really is so much, it creates a real interest really quickly. The other thing that we certainly know about the PRS style thing, and Badco and I spent a couple of episodes discussing it, but it really attracts the hunter type of shooters, which you alluded to before, Galen, where the guys who aren't commonly on a range, not looking to shoot comps, they see this and go, wow, that's a lot more relatable to what I do. And I don't know your backgrounds, gentlemen, whether you've done much hunting, if that's been a big part of what you've done. Has it been? Spotlighting and such?
Going back a long time ago, mate. No, I started shooting when I was 13. I was actually working in a gun shop when I was 14. And 14 years old, I was actually pushing a cart loaded with guns up and down Rundle Street.
They were muzzle loaders.
Flintlocks, mate. Flintlocks. Get it right. But no, from that, I mean, the gun shop people sort of looked after me as well. It was a part-time job that actually went into a full-time job while I was at uni. Yep. But, we used to get away regularly chasing all sorts of stuff all over the place.
Nice.
That's a long time ago.
Ben?
Sort of thing. I grew up in like a little country town for many years and moved to the Big Smoke when I was quite older. So
When did you move to Adelaide?
only about 7 years ago. So state of origin. Sorry guys, I'm competing against you guys.
Where
But
are you from originally?
Queensland.
Right, we'll just turn your mic off.
Oh, come on. No, so, I come from like a little country town and had the opportunity to, go like spotlighting and things like that when I was quite younger. So, started shooting at probably around about the same age, like 12, 13 or so. Even driving the old Jeep around and stuff like that. So, having the opportunity to sort of do this again is kind of bringing in like my childhood, as well as having two young like kids myself, and having the opportunity to actually teach them that guns aren't a bad thing, and that as long as you're safe, anything's possible. So,
Especially when you got a purple unicorn.
My son loves a pink unicorn. My son loves it.
I'm colourblind.
Yeah, why not?
Excellent. Very good. Well, gentlemen, any last thoughts and give us a bit, running through those details of the competition one more time for us. They're all pointing at each other. Jump in, Galen.
So the competition's being held on Sunday, the 21st of January 2018, and at the Torrens Valley Pistol Club, which is on Carmelo Road in Virginia. And so if you're heading north on Port Wakefield Road, it's on your left-hand side.
What time?
We're taking registrations from 8:30. So my recommendation would be to turn up reasonably promptly.
I think brekkies from 7:30.
Yeah, correct. So registrations from 8:30. You do need to be registered, obviously, to shoot. We'll be serving breakfast from.
That's how it works.
Yeah, be serving breakfast from 7:30. That is, obviously, you buy your breakfast, but lunch is also available after the competition as well. So it should be a really good day. It's on a covered range, so if it happens to be warmer on the day, we're shooting primarily in shade. So, it should be a great competition.
Yeah,
Very
so just
good.
make sure you just jump over to the Precision Tactical Rimfire
Well, that's the thing, is if people
Facebook page.
perhaps even can't make this shoot but are interested in following your progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Jump over there and hopefully we got a few more up. The link's also on many other sites as well. So everyone keeps sharing all the details. It's kind of amazing how much love we've had lately. It's been fantastic. So especially from Impact Dynamic. Love you guys.
We try and take care of all exciting things shooting
You're a
going on.
wonderful man, Rusty. Nine stages, couple of 100 rounds. Come along. It'd be a great day.
Very good.
And
guys.
numbers are capped, so you want to be there early to register.
Yeah, and with a pink unicorn, there is going to be high demand.
High demand.
Absolute high demand. So, wonderful, gentlemen. Thank you for spending a bit of time.
Thank
chatting
you,
away.
Rusty.
And for those listening, if this has piqued your interest in the 22 world, certainly get in touch with these guys or look to get something started wherever you are, because we've done a number of these type of events, and particularly the rimfire stuff has been really good fun. So get onto it, and thanks, gentlemen. We'll catch you all next time.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Rusty.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by STS Steel Targets, premium shooting targets and accessories.